Thank you for joining me. I have another game for you of Miaoyi. She's playing the white pieces against Zarina, who is of Kazakhstan. Zarina, approximately a year older than Miaoyi. Kazakhstan, I think, is kind of western side of China. Or Zarina is playing the black pieces. Miaoyi is playing white. We have pawn to e4 by Miaoyi and pawn to e5 by black. So we have king pawn opening, knight to f3 and knight to c6. So the Italian game. And now bishop to c4 by Miaoyi and knight to f6 by black. This is called the two knights defense, but just fantastic development, getting your pieces involved, putting pressure on the center of the board, exactly what you want to see. Pawn now to d4, again striking at the center, and this has been played tens of thousands of times in top level play. Grandmasters like one of the top, Ron Aronian, favors this opening, and he actually follows the exact same line as these two, even for the next several moves. So, and he's ranked 2735 as his rating. So this is a fantastic opening to use. We now have pawn captures on d4 by black, and now pawn to e5 by white, attacking the knight. And this is kind of a cool opening, but this is all book stuff. We have pawn to d5, as maybe some of you know this opening. Pawn to d5, attacking the bishop, and now bishop to b5 by Miaoyi. Knight now to e4. This is, again, just stuff that's been played tens of thousands of times by top masters. So knight to e4 is best here. And now knight captures on d4 by Miaoyi, and bishop to c5 here. We have bishop to e3 now by Miaoyi, and now castles. Now Miaoyi plays the best move in the position. Knight captures on c6. We have pawn captures on c6, of course. And now bishop captures on c5. Knight now captures on c5 for black. And only now do we play bishop captures pawn on c6. So Miaoyi now up a pawn. Actually, this has been played in many master games. There have been many master games that have played all the way up to this point, including the move rook to b8, which most people played rook to b8. But interestingly, there were two games, two master level games, where bishop to, let's just take a quick look at that back up. So I think it was 8 games where we had rook here, rook to b8, or maybe it was more like a dozen. But there were 2 games where instead bishop to a6 was played. And in both of those games, black won those games. Seems kind of crazy as, yeah, you're hanging your rook. But, well, of course, the queen can capture back. Anyway, we do have rook to b8 here. And now we have queen captures on d5, best move in the position by white. And this has been played up to this position before. But this next move is actually not in the Masters database. So this was a bit of a mistake by black. They should have instead played, actually, so there were 8 or 9 games where queen to e7 was played. But queen to g5, this is a brand new game, never been a recorded game either in the Masters database or, yeah, just there's no recorded games with this move. So, bit of a strange one. It would have been best to play queen to e7, and we'll take a quick look at that variation, just how that might have turned out now. So black would have been better if they just played queen to e7, and then we'd have castles for white. Bishop now to a6. Rook scoots over to e1, and now rook captures on b2. This would have been a better position than the one that black is likely to face under correct play with the move queen to g5. But we'll go back to that move queen to g5 now. So we do have queen to g5 on the board, and now we have knight to c3. This is the best possible move for Miaoyi to make. And now black does play the best possible response, knight to e6 here. Kind of scary, Miaoyi still got her kings sitting in the middle of the board. But anyway, let's continue. We now have knight to e4 attacking the queen by Miaoyi. And this wasn't necessarily the best in the position. Actually playing pawn to a4 would have been better. But we will actually continue and take a look at this next move. Better for the queen would have been to move the queen to f4 here, and we're going to take a look at that. So instead, queen to f4 would have been a better way to go. Pawn now to g3, queen back to h6. Now queen to c4 would be best. And now rook captures on b2. This would have been a better way to play for black. Anyway, let's go back to what actually happened on the chessboard now. Now we have the best move in the position by Lu Miaoyi. Maybe you want to pause your video and see if you can find the best move. If you just want to hear or watch the show, it was actually just castles here. Just castles queenside, best possible move. Zarina plays bishop to a6 here. And now Lu Miaoyi moves her rook, centralizing the h rook to e1. Rook lifts to b6 by Zarina, attacking the bishop, although it is defended. This is not the best move in the position, but it's not terrible. Actually suggesting the best move, interesting, would be bishop here. And we'll take a look at that variation now. So rook to b6 is not the best move. The crazy move is actually bishop to e2 is actually the best move, because you can't actually take the bishop. If you do, you do lose the rook as the knight attacks the queen and the rook from f4. If you play bishop to e2, the best move for white is to go ahead and move the rook to d2, and then we would have rook to d8 by black, attacking the queen. Best for white would be queen over to a5, and now bishop to g4. This would have been a better way to deploy black's rooks, and yeah, this would be a easier position to defend than the one that black was likely to face on the board. But let's go back to what Zarina faced in the actual game. Zarina plays rook to b6, and now Lu Miaoyi moves her bishop to d7. We have knight now to the best possible square by Zarina, knight to f4 now. Lu Miaoyi actually moves her queen to c5, which is not the best possible move in the position. Lu Miaoyi with 38 seconds on her clock, by the way. I hope, well, yeah. Hopefully you all noticed the clocks here. This is Blitz chess. I should have said that at the beginning of the video. I guess I will put it in text. This is not the best move, though. And what she should have done is moved her queen to d4 here. That would have been a better square. And it's a pretty significant blunder. So we'll go ahead and take a look at what she should have done. So Lu Miaoyi should have simply moved her queen to d4 here. We would lose the g2 pawn. Knight captures g2. But then rook to g1. And this isn't bad for white. This is, that knight's in trouble. It's pinned to the queen, which is lined up with the king. This is kind of a nice position to be in if you're playing white. Anyway, let's go back to what actually happened on the chessboard and see if Zarina is able to take advantage of the position. We now have a doubling of the rooks. We have rook f to b8 by Zarina. This is not the best move in the position. Just saying, go ahead and grab this pawn while it's available, which is interesting because I wouldn't want to play that move either with the rook obviously coming here. It seems like a bad play, but we'll go ahead and continue. Lu Miaoyi doesn't play the best move in the position. She's only got, she's got 38 seconds on her clock. She's doing quite a bit better on time than Zarina, but she plays pawn to b3, preventing any attacks on her king. Actually, this best move suggested by the engines is actually just to go ahead and play queen captures pawn on c7. Queen captures c7 is supposed to be the best move. That's not an easy one to see. But okay, we'll continue. We now do have the best move in the position by Zarina. She captures the pawn on g2, attacking the rook. Lu Miaoyi does move her rook over to g1, as we saw in the earlier variation. Interestingly, this is not the best move. The best move is actually to play king to b2, which is amazing. So yeah, we'll take a quick look at that. So the best way to play this actually would be to play king to b2. Then knight captures on e1, rook captures on e1, bishop back to d8 by white, queen captures pawn on c7, Bishop captures bishop on d7, queen captures d7, and this would have been a better position for white. Anyway, let's go back to what actually happened on the chessboard. So Lu Maoyi does play rook to g1, which makes a lot more sense to me than what we just saw. We now have queen captures e4, of course, and now rook to d4 by Lu Maoyi, best possible move. Rook to d4 is a fantastic move. This is attacking the queen, and also there's really no way to prevent this move here. Rook goes here, adding a second attacker on the semi-loose knight. So the knight is under attack once, it's defended once, and these semi-loose pieces are something you always want to keep in mind as a chess player. And how are we going to save this knight? This knight, I think, is a goner now. There's no way that I can conceive of to save it, as you've got to save the queen. The engine is actually saying best is move the queen back here, but the rook can still come in, attacking the queen, defended by the bishop, and you're going to lose the knight. So really not much that can be done in the position. So this is considered a blunder, but either way, it was not going to be good. Just go ahead and continue with what actually happened on the chessboard. Lu Maoyi does play the brutal move, rook to g4. We have pawn to g6 by black. This is really the best you can do. And now Lu Maoyi plays rook captures on g2, of course, going up that knight, although really only up 1 point in the position. Bishop now comes down to e2. This is the best possible move in the position found by Zarina. And now rook back to g3 by Lu Maoyi. Bishop now attacks the rook on g2 with bishop f2. And we have rook back to g1, of course, by Lu Maoyi. Now rook to a6 by black, going after this pawn here. And Lu Maoyi just goes ahead and plays king to b2. We now have queen to e4 by Zarina. And now Lu Maoyi actually grabs the pawn on c7. There's only 5 seconds on Zarina's clock and 21 on Lu Maoyi's clock. This was actually a blunder here. She should have instead just pulled her queen back to c3. With this move, actually, Zarina has a chance to equalize in the position, and we'll go ahead and take a look at that variation now. So under correct play, black can actually force a draw here by starting with queen to d4, king now back to b1 would be best. Now the rook sacrificed by black. Rook captures on b3, pawn captures on b3, best move, so c captures b3. And now bishop to e4, checking the king. The king would be forced to c1, and black could force perpetual check in this situation. He could just, depending on where he goes, there's ways to continually attack the king, and so this would be a draw. So black could have got back into the game with such an attack. Let's see what actually happened in the game with such few amount of time on it, just with so few seconds left in the game. So queen captures on c7 was a mistake. We now have another mistake by black, rook to f8, but we're not going to go into that one. Actually, the best move would have been, as we saw it, queen to d4 check, but we will continue. We now have bishop to b5 here, attacking black's rook, and Zarina moves her rook to b6. Lu Maoyi plays bishop to d3, attacking Zarina's queen. She moves her queen now to d4 for check. And now Lu Maoyi plays the best possible move, blocking with her queen, queen to c3. And Zarina decides she's not going to go ahead and trade. She plays queen to d5. And now we have bishop to c4 by Lu Maoyi, attacking Zarina's queen once again. She moves her queen back to b7. And now Lu Maoyi takes the bishop. Queen takes on f3. Again, finally picking up what was a semi-loose piece. Eventually we were able to remove the defender, and Lu Maoyi goes up 6 points here. She's got 20 seconds on her clock, only 7 on the challenger Zarina. We have queen to e7 as she fights on, And now queen back to c3 by Lu Maoyi. Pawn to a5 by Zarina. And pawn to a4 by Lu Maoyi. Rook now to b4 and king to a2 by Lu Maoyi. Zarina brings her queen to d7 and now rook to d3, taking over that file. The queen's got to move. She goes to b7. Now Lu Maoyi doubles her rooks with rook g to d1. And Zarina moves her queen back to the back rank. Queen to b8, trying to defend the position. Lu Maoyi now plays rook to d7. And there's really not much to do. Lu Maoyi's just forcing her way in here with her extra pieces. We have rook to b6 by black. This is as good as you can really do. And now Lu Maoyi creates what's called Alekhine's gun. So having all three heavy pieces on the same rank or file, they call this Alekhine's gun after a grandmaster from, he was one of the first world champions. I can't remember if Alekhine was 4th or 5th world champion, something like that. He'd like to create this sort of weapon on the chessboard. We have rook to c6, which is, again, just as good as you can do in the position. Now we have queen to d5 by Lu Maoyi. Now rook to c7, one of the best moves you can make in the position, although it would have really been just as good to go ahead and take the bishop. You're going to have to lose the rook for that anyway, but we'll go ahead and continue. Black does play rook to c7, and now we have rook to d8 by Lu Maoyi, attacking the queen and the rook. We have queen now to b4 by Lu Maoyi, and now rook captures rook on g8 by Lu Maoyi. It looks like a resignation then. So she moves her king and then resigns the game. And the reason she resigned is she actually could have just taken the rook. She could have just taken the rook. This was definitely the best move in the position, but she moves her king, and now it's actually mate in 8. There's no way to stop checkmate. You could just play rook captures on f7 check, king back to h6, rook captures rook on c7, queen now to b6 would be best, and now rook to f7. Queen could capture on f2. We would have rook captures queen, and now pawn to g5, probably the best that can be done here. And now queen to d3, pawn now to g4, queen to f5, pawn attacks with pawn to g3, pawn captures on g3, king to g7, queen now to f6, and that would be checkmate. So she resigned the game several moves ago. She resigned way back when she blundered, and she could have just taken, she could have just taken the queen, or she could have taken the rook. She'd still be losing, but maybe she would, they were both very low on time, so she might have been okay. Maybe Lu Maoyi would have ran out of time first had she captured. But she resigns. That's the end of that one. She's a young girl also. She would have been just like 13 maybe. Anyway, thank you for joining me for that. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, like, and let me know if you want to take chess classes. I do teach group and individual classes online. So if that's something you're interested in, you can check out the link on Patreon for that, or you can just kind of, send me a comment. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.